regardless phases, the thing that I want to emphasize is that you can always go back to green. It's just each phase is a little bit harder than the other phase. You know, as you progress, see, yellow is probably a little bit harder to go back to green. I mean, easier to go back to green when you're in the yellow. It's a little harder when you're in the orange. It's tough when you're in the red. You know, so, and those are the things. But it's a good thing to know, because at least we know that we have some work to do. And a lot of people go through life and don't even assess that in their life. Don't think that they need the help, you know, and we lose them too early. Because eventually, there are two problems that can happen. Health problems. You know, I think our grandfather died from, what is the liver? The one that, the cirrhosis of the liver. Yeah, he was a heavy drinker. You know, so you have those problems and you have impairment problems. Now, health problems usually take a long period of time, you know, for those things to happen. But impairment problems can happen like that. You know, we show a video of a kid that went to the University of Florida, and most of his life he's always made low-risk decisions. You know, didn't take it or leave it approach to drinking. Got in his second year, and he went out, and he indulged a lot. And he ended up getting behind the wheel of his car and causing an accident, and the person that he hit died. So he spent 10 years in Florida jail. Now, a lot of things were happening. His parents were both teachers, you know, so they was like, man, we taught him all of this. His sister was graduating while he was in jail. His brother was getting married while he was in jail. So he missed out on a lot of things, and, you know, it was tough for the family, because like the parents was talking about, it cost them a lot of money, and he still ended up doing 10 years, you know, because he would have probably did more than that after that. But so impairment problems are, you know, they can happen like right then. As soon as you do more than that 0, 1, 2, 3, you're putting yourself in jeopardy when you get behind the wheel of a car. And so that's why those are things that we need to really talk about it. We have been avoiding that for years, but you know, I am focused and confident. I think that that's the ministry that God has given me, is to challenge, you know, young people to be educated on these things. Don't run away from them. You know, that's why they don't go to the churches now, because, you know, they know that the church is not giving them real life strategies to help them live. You know, they say you got a mental health. Pray to God, you know, rebuke the enemy, the spirit, and a lot of people, the spirit never left. You know, so we were forced to go see a therapist to help us to overcome our situation. So, you know, it's time for us, especially in the black community, to learn, you know, how to make these decisions that are not preventing us from being the best people that we can be, because that's what we want to be. We want to keep working on being, you know, the best people that we can be. All right. So that's 4 phases of addiction. Again, addiction is something that don't happen overnight. It happens as we make high-risk choices and we keep going through the different phases until eventually we get to the red. All right. And this is the last thing. I want to leave you with a real life story. Well, first of all, I want parents to know that we have parent guides. You know, these are things, because we know it's difficult for parents to talk to their youth about drugs, alcohol, because we want to do better than the people before us. I want my kids to be better than me at raising their kids. We gotta look at it. You know, these are things that can help, activities that parents can use to talk about addiction. Because I promise you, I regret a lot of times not being honest about, you know, who I was, what I did when I was young, the mistakes I made. You know, because my kids were not privy to that, and, you know, they ended up hitting some of those same roadblocks. Had I been upfront and honest and open about it, you know, who knows? Maybe they would have said, hey, I heard my daddy told me about that one. But, you know, I grew up in that era when you know, you kind of like, you know, do as I say. Not as I do. You know, you see me do wrong, you don't do that. You do what I tell you to do is right. You know, so never made sense to me. We did it. We did it, you know. So, and you know, I don't blame the kids for that, man, because I'm the same way. You know, there were times when I wanted to say something when I was coming up, but I knew that my mom had a mean right hand, and a lot of times I didn't want to experience it. So, you know, we kind of, you know, we just kind of kept quiet on that situation. Anybody got any questions for me at this point?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
How would you, what are some steps to take if you are in the red and you're trying to get back to the green phase?
Well, it's, the AA classes they're real. They're real. They're just like the NAMI classes that we do. You know, there are support groups. So when you go, you'll be surprised, man. I used to think they were corny, but you'll be surprised at how you help each other, you know, by just talking about how, man, it was tough, but I found a way to get through, and you share how you got through. You know, you'll be surprised at how people say, and it keeps you busy too, man. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta be, one of the things I talk about in my book, man, is you have to be working on being the best you that you can be. You know, because when you're trying to be the best you that you can be, you really don't have time to do all that stuff because you're trying to develop your craft. You know, I spend so much time in trying to develop my craft, getting ready for this. You know, this, it looks like to a lot of people, man, it's just stuff that I do. No, I prepare. You know, it's a lot of work went into it. It's a lot of certifications. You know, so that's one thing. And then again, the support. You know, the support to help you, making sure that you're doing things through the course of the week. You know, and I won't be somebody that tells you, you know, to just cold turkey, but you have to have some standards. You have to try to work on those standards, and the thing that you have to do is you have to try to fill your schedule with things that are productive. Things that are productive. There's a lot of people that need some help out here. So you need to volunteer your time in trying to help too. You know, when you off, sometimes you need to go to a school somewhere and say, hey man, let me tutor that young boy right there. Show him how not to make the mistakes I made. You know, so that's what it's doing, man. That's how I did it, man. I just worked on being the best person that I can be. You know, and so that's how you do it. You know, some people have to go into, you know, detox and stuff like that. It just depends. But you know, you know, but it has to start with making sure that you have standards and you follow those standards. Find that you can't follow those standards. See, I'm not the person that you can't change overnight. So what I do is I look for small steps of progress, little nuggets of progress, okay? And you celebrate those little nuggets. You don't stop. You just say, oh man, I went 2 days this time, and you know, I didn't drink but 2.